No, not this team, but just the one for okay, you can have extra, maybe Nicky left and then he gets it.
For some of the business well, looking at some of the programs that come out,
That's my timekeeper.
the one I, for example,
Luke!
chair is
Hey.
SME Leadership Award. And again, it's a small amount of money for whatever course people want to do. We're now including maybe month and hour or whatever. Money would cover that. So we actually just did the study there of sending.
Can you please open this door so I can close this one? I don't want people coming in again. No worries. Come on for the back door. That's all. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Did you mention warm up? What we're gonna do now is obviously you're gonna pitch, and you're gonna be live on TV, streamed to the whole world, to at least 18 countries so far, to our knowledge, and it's gonna be exciting. And the format is going to be a 3-minute presentation, followed by a 2-minute inquisitive Q&A by these wonderful judges here, and then to flip the sides a little bit, we're gonna get them on the spot, and they would have to address some of the problems they identified in your presentations. Is that clear? Yeah, so deliver your 3-minute pitches, give good answers, and additionally, look over there. Look, it probably makes sense to come closer in the front because I can't read from there, but he's gonna show when you have 1 minute left, and then he's gonna again show when you have 30 seconds left, and then there's gonna be a slight beep when it's time for you to stop talking, finish your sentences, say thank you. Don't make them 4-minute sentences, please. Say thank you, and then open up for Q&A. At the moment the 3 minutes end, 2 minutes start. So you're eating into your Q&A time if you speak too long, okay? And yeah, and then we'll have the judges buzz in, yeah? Yeah, and there's a bell also. So whoever buzzes in first gets to speak first. And then we only get 2 slots of 2 minutes, up to 2 minutes. Okay, so next thing, I want to do a quick round of intros from our judging panel, which is going to be chaired by Norman Apsey, who is a very successful founder of one of the best, or the ex-director of one of the best tech parks in the UK. And he's done all kinds of other wonderful things. He is now the head of the steering committee of LIF. And please, Norman, tell us a few words about your background and experience.
Hi, everybody. I'm Norman Ashley. I had 10 years in academic research, and then in those days, then I was at Cambridge. Cambridge did pretty well blue sky stuff. Nothing much applied, at least in my part. So I moved to another laboratory, a government laboratory, which did very much applied physics, and spent 20 years there, ending as director, and having transferred lots of technology and made lots of licenses, but nearly all of them were abroad, and there were no businesses around this establishment, even though it had invented a lot of things that you will use every day in life. And so I began to be interested in why that was, and worked with people like our Confederation of British Industry in the area, and it came to the point that science parks, with all the things that you're doing here with the source group and everything, are absolutely vital to turning the ideas. An idea on its own is no good without the transfer and process of finding a product and service to get it into the world. And so that's how I came to found the science park in Belfast, now called Catalyst Inc. I retired 3 weeks ago, and the Momoda and the Royal Academy and all our friends jumped in and filled my time, so I haven't really got a chance to get bored yet. But anyway, it's great fun to be here. Thanks.
Norman, thank you. You probably deserve to get bored, but we are not going to give you the chance today, I'm afraid. Okay, let's go then next to Simon.
So my name's Simon. My background is in innovation tech and growing businesses. So I've been in the London tech scene and other countries as well for the last 10 to 15 years. My main focus is from ideation and growing a business, so setting out all their processes and building a structure around how they scale all the way up to SME stage. Currently working on quite a few innovative projects and love to hear what you lot are doing. This is the first time I'm doing this, so I'm quite nervous, so you lot can rest assured that I'm there with you. Thank you.
Amazing. And Duncan?
I'm Duncan Knight. I've been mentoring on the program this semester. I'm a two-time co-founder. I spent 10 years running an IT consulting firm, selling into large enterprise businesses around Asia Pacific. I came back to UK and co-founded a health tech company, which is still operating. Prior to that, I spent 9 years in industrial water treatment, sort of chemical and microbiological engineering of large water systems. So I spend my time now mentoring and advising lots of accelerators around the world. That's me.
Wonderful. Scary stuff, guys. Then let's start with Felipe, who is going to tell us a little bit about how we should handle mobile telecommunications in the future. Come on, let's go. Yeah, so this is Nick, this is Trigus, this is the laser, and please stand over there on the X. Okay. Right, this X.
That X.
Yeah,
Okay.
over there. Yeah, please don't go too far off from the X so the camera can see you.
Okay.
And your answer.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Felipe Moreno. I'm CEO of Dirius. What happened? In Peru, we have at least 50,000 high-power towers. For now, is HPT. What happened with this? We spend a lot of money to do a maintenance of this. What is the problem? We identified 3 problems. The first one is very frequently because they need to know the status of the tower, and that is have a cost of about $300 or $400. And the next, that in some cases when you contract personnel, occurs accidents, and that means additional cost, secures and hospital taxes or fees. And the last is that when you want to check the status of the tower, you need to measure how is the corrosion level in that tower. And that takes a long time, maybe 1 week or 2 weeks, and that could be preventing drop down the tower. Our solution is to implement a real-time system monitoring, who consists in the sensor module and real-time in a mobile application and web platform to check the status. In this case, the parameters that we measure is temperature, pressure, humidity, and luxes. With that 4 parameters, you can calculate the corrosion level in each tower. Oh, the $300 and $400 is just for 1 tower of the 50,000 towers that we have in Peru, in all the country, at least. Okay, our business model is, in this case, we have the opportunity to talk with the head of REP. It means Peruvian Network Energy. That is a consortium of companies who manage all the towers in Peru. Well, we have the opportunity to talk, and we have an agreement to implement our system in 100 towers. And at least of the project that started in August of this year, we will receive about $200,000 for just 100 towers at the end of May of 2018. Okay, that team is the Dirius is conformed by computer scientists like me, electrical engineers like my brother, and some mechanical engineers to do all these things. Okay, our challenge as enterprises is after this stage, we need to establish what will be our next step. Maybe in environment segments, like get data from the environment pollution, and that's it. Okay, in UK, I could meet people from University of Westminster and Queen's Mary. Well, the things that I have learned is how to explain my technical words in a simple way. I could increase my networking. Well, I receive help from my mentors and all the feedback that you give me. Well, what I need is investment for scale up, a fast deploy of my system. Thank you.
Sirs, any questions?
didn't quite understand whether you're measuring solely the structure of the tower or electrical problems like insulation breakdown or at all those things.
Can you repeat, please?
The health of the tower,
Yeah.
is it physical? In other words, has it damaged, or is it electrical, that there's a short, or?
Oh yeah, the problem is something like that. The tower have a corrosion level by humidity and the rain. Peru have a lot of microclimates. So
Okay.
in that region, there's a microclimate who corrupted the metal. Okay. So to measure the corrosion level, you need 4 parameters. Our sensor is put in the top of the tower. So you can get the data in real time, every one you want, and you can calculate the corrosion level with that 4 parameters that we sense. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, you talk about measuring the corrosion
Yeah.
in the tower and creating a business from that. You also then mentioned at the end of your pitch that you might be looking at other opportunities. Is that true, or is your focus going to be on the corrosion of towers?
For this specific project, we measure that parameters for measure the corrosion level. It's just a specific application of this, but the sensor could be modified as you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is your focus to create a business to do this?
Yeah, in this first stage that we have the opportunity to do that is to measure the corrosion level. Yes.
Okay. As a business.
Yes,
Okay.
in this case, yes.
Understanding the scale of what you're trying to do, how do you see your plans in the UK? How do you see plans not just in the UK but overall? How do you think you're going to grow that?
Okay, in
this
UK,
business?
I tried to improve the technology that we use. For example, the architecture of all the system, maybe improve the latency of the real-time sensing, or maybe the software of the hardware of the sensors, because some sensors are very expensive to import to Peru, because the majority is developed here in Europe. So I'm looking for maybe a hardware sensor company selling, and maybe make partners, but I don't find it. Yes.
Okay.
Do you have to check that every
I
tower?
believe
Oh, sorry.
there is, we run out of time for questions. So feel free to take notes if you need on the sheets, and whenever you buzz in, you get 2 minutes to kind of jump in and give your opinion about what the whole situation here is,
Okay.
how we can help.
I'm going to buzz. I think that's redundant.
Okay.
I can connect you with a European sensor company.
Hmm?
I can connect you with an IoT European sensor company.
That's good.
I work with one.
What do you think is going to be the biggest challenge for him to kind of develop some kind of a supply relationship with a European IoT company that would be applicable in his business
I
case?
think finding a unique product market fit, because there's a lot of competition in this market for environmental sensing. It's very, very busy. So why are you guys going to be unique?
Because in Peru there is not. There is not exist.
Okay.
We have a traditional way to get data from the environment,
Okay.
not in real time, no automatic. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I can. Okay. That's good.
Any other input? We don't need to do 2, by the way, only if you have something valuable to add. Hey, good stuff.
Okay.
Rodrigo, sorry, Felipe, amazing work. Thank you so much. High five, man.
Okay.
Poof. Okay, let's have Miguel prepare. In the meantime, Rodrigo, I want to invite you here on stage, sir. Please take the spot and you tell us about your intelligent recycling bins.
¿Cómo funciona eso? Siguiente atrás.
Massive issue in today's polluted environment, and it's something we should really care about. I've been living here for years. I still can't figure out how recycling works in London. It's just you need a PhD in garbage throwing away science in order to get it for every neighborhood. Oh, Hannah, thank you so much. I think, yeah, amazing. I really appreciate the help.
It's okay.
And sir, you are on.
Good morning. Did you know that every day Peru generates 23,000 tons of garbage? With that, we can fill up to 3 stadiums of waste daily. 2% of that is recycled, but the other 90% goes to the incinerators, ends up in the streets, in the rivers, on the sea. This problem is affecting 3.5 million people just in Lima, and that's where I live. A place where people don't know how to segregate, or they really don't care, and the city wastes time and resources only to recover 1% of the garbage. But we're going to change the game. I'm Rodrigo, co-founder of Circes, and we are bringing technological solutions to the global pollution crisis. That's why we invented Irving, the first artificial intelligence recycling robot in Peru. With Irving, you get automatic classification of the solid waste from the moment it's thrown into the bin. That way, you save time, cost, and resources, shorten the recycling cycle, and help generating environmental awareness. We already have a patent and have featured in most of the national news in Peru. We have featured in competitions from around the world, like in Brazil, the Dominican Republic, Israel, and got a $20,000 grant to develop our first prototype that has already been tested in my university. During the LIFT program, I was able to connect with an AI expert from the Imperial College and got access to a huge database that will help us improve our detection software. I got also amazing help to consolidate my business plan and have a clearer strategy of growth. And so we're going to have revenue to the selling of the machine through a single payment for the product, a leasing contract or rental contract, and a percentage for advertising. We have already an agreement with Totus, one of the biggest shopping mall chains in Peru, and we're going to have a pilot program with them in December. And we will also implement a benefit program so we can improve the customer engagement to the store. After the pilot, we will have our pricing strategy so we can expand to another shopping malls, supermarkets, stadium, theaters, and eventually Latin America. I am Rodrigo, a mechatronic engineer with 4 years of experience as a researcher. I have a great team with experience in robotics, artificial intelligence, the industrial design, and we have a partnership with Bunderman, an international advertising company. Today, we are looking for a $50,000 investment to start production, and in 1 year, we will break even, develop 30 Irvings, and help recover 2.5 million PET bottles and 1.5 million glass bottles. So if you are interested, please contact me and help me reach the goal of developing and building zero-waste smart cities. Thank you.
Yeah.
Question around the amount of money that you're looking to raise. Is $50,000 enough to give you enough runway?
Yep. Well, I have made like a rough financial viability for 5 years, and with 50,000 I can start. It's like a slow production, like 4 machines per month. That will be enough to start the business. To start really slow, but it will be enough.
Okay.
Does your robot need certain constraints so that you've got a particular place for it, and therefore you know, like you've got cups and straws and or is it?
Think of it like a vending machine. So in places there are public but private, how do I say it, like businesses would have a big public spaces, like shopping malls. They have the places where they have vending machines, they are secure places. There's nobody's going to take the machine up there.
I wasn't thinking of it being stolen. I'm thinking of people putting inappropriate rubbish that would gum the works up.
One of,
if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
well, you have a restricted size of the entrance. So you can put anything that's too big, too large, and it can accept barely anything. You can throw a rock if you want. It won't damage the machine.
So in terms of if a machine's sitting there in a shopping mall, people are throwing in cups, straws, whatever like that, and then you get a burger in there.
Yep,
maybe some fried chicken. How does that
It's
work
okay.
out?
It's okay. The machine is going to take it and put it in like the general waste. He's only going to recover the PET bottles, the glass bottle, the organic that can be then sold for the recycling companies.
Okay, and the overall capacity of the bin is how much?
It's a 1 meter square capacity. It's like we base it on the normal flow it's to replace the current recycled bins we normally have in the shopping malls. So it's going to have the same capacity of that.
Okay. Anybody wants to offer advice? Hey, you seem you're bulletproof. There's nothing.
So I'm just, if I could,
Yeah, sure.
I guess every country needs this, not just Peru.
Yeah.
And I didn't see an internationalization strategy in
Well,
what you said.
If you may say,
Maybe I missed it.
I have a kind of competition, reverse vending machines in Europe, but in
This
Germany, in United States.
Yeah, this is the one I was thinking of. There's in Northern Ireland where I live, there are lots of those which are.
Yeah, or something like. But they receive any kind of garbage. They didn't
but why
segregate
treat
it.
them? Why treat it? It doesn't select. So why treat it as competition, not an opportunity?
Well, I'm like a part of the strategy growth that I learned here. I need to start a little slow. So I start a little slow with the production and then expand to, after Latin America, then it's going to be my starting market, then come to Europe, I think.
Yeah, I might disagree with that.
Go directly to Europe.
No, I mean, I think you want to do the prototype, but it's been my experience that for something that's needed in the whole world, you need to go out uniformly to it, otherwise somebody will jump, whoever has more money.
Okay, I'll look into that.
It depends on the amount of capital you can raise and the amount of
Yeah.
relationships. I guess.
I should look for
I
more.
think that's your weakness, but it's expressed in a different way.
Okay.
If that's the only concern you have is that you're not going big enough, that's a good sign.
I guess we've been careful not to be too indelicate in what we think might happen to the machine in terms of the rubbish, the kinds of rubbish that might be put in it. If it's out of control, if it's not in a controlled environment, but that's another question.
Yeah, but this is the technology of the design.
Never work. Right?
Yeah, but when you have to basically depend on the consumer to put the right type of thing in, right?
Yeah.
No, it's just people just it's supposed to crush it, and then they just keep pushing, and so anyway.
No, the idea on this one is you can put whatever you want, and it just goes to a different bin. There's a selection at the bottom.
Till it overfills.
I'm gonna chase you away from the stage, sir.
Yeah.
Actually, good job, and I want to get thank you, Edson, Luque, Mamani, mic'd up, and before I invite Miguel, there is Matthew over there, who got saved by his colleagues, but because he was late, he's now not going to be allowed to vote, but we are definitely going to leverage his expertise to help the fellows. Yeah, Matthew, can you do a quick intro to everybody?
Yeah, hi, sorry I'm late. My trains were cancelled. So I'm Matthew. I've started a venture capital fund a couple of years ago called Dot Matrix Group. We do seed investing as a syndicate, putting in around about 100k into companies who are raising rounds of typically 1.5, 2 million pounds, something like that. So we contribute to that. We've done 6 in the last couple of years, and we do sort of 5 or 6 investments each year.
Matthew, we are number 3 here.
Yeah.
And please take notes so you can contribute in the deliberation afterwards. Wonderful. And Miguel, yes, all good. Aha, I have it. What is the right button is next, and this is a laser. Okay. If you want to blind somebody if they're not very helpful. Okay.
Hi, my name is Miguel Malnati, and I am co-founder of Bionatal Solution Company. I am industrial engineer, researcher in biotechnology, and entrepreneur. I won the Italian Technology Award, and I participate in different projects with the World Bank. All my life, I've been working with fruits. That's my passion. I found that fruit have a very short, useful life. For example, this banana, in only 5 days, is spoiled. Just in Peru, farmers lose around $60 million per year for this fruit wasted. Exporters lose $10 million, and fruit supply lose $90 million. That's a huge number. For this reason, we create bio-natural cover. That is an edible solution that increases the shelf life of fruit under 200%. This is natural, liquid, colorless, odorless, and the fruit maintains the properties over time. Also, we have a PCT patent application, Here you can see the results for fruit and see the amazing difference with the fruit without treatment and the fruit with bio-natural cover. We sell gallons with a price between these according to the saving that the customer have using our product. The bioneutral cover is using in the coating stage by two methods, by spray or by immersion, depending on the fruits. In the first stage, we are focused in the local market that we can reach $1.1 million, but our market is global. We can reach 170 million tons of these fruits. The attraction is mainly in three topics: in the meeting with exporters in Peru, the grant that we won in some contests, and the meeting with regional venture capitals. Also, we have some PR in newspapers and in reviews in Peru. During my visit in UK, I have two important connections. First, with a professor of Lancaster University, and with the commercial area of Tesco. That is a huge here in UK. The team is made with 3 young entrepreneurs that have the passion for solve this global problem. Also, we have international mentors that complement our knowledge and help us to scale up the startup in a global way. We are looking for distribution partners, funding for improved production line, and we could improve our traction. Our vision is to be a global biotech company creating sustainable solutions to improve the food industry. Thank you.
We got a couple extra seconds for the time, for running ahead of time. Gentlemen.
So do you produce this liquid?
Yes.
And do you sell? Who do you sell that to? Tesco.
I sell to two mainly customers: exporters and fruit suppliers, like retailers, like Tesco. No, we have two customers.
Okay. So they pick the fruit.
What?
I'm just wondering what the chain of events is. They pick the fruit. They put it on a lorry.
Yeah, the chain is like here. Farmers. It's normal that exporter have his own farmers and his packers. No?
Okay, yeah.
And the retailers like Tesco need to buy or import the fruit to other countries. For the reason is exporters that have all of these changes, and the fruit suppliers that have the retailers like Tesco.
And you are?
My customer is exporters and fruit suppliers that need to have this fruit to coating in the designated country.
Okay.
And is the coating that you put on totally acceptable to everyone? I mean, even if you take something like wax that's put on a citrus fruit, some people don't like that.
Yeah.
Or does Tesco have to take it off before the product is sold?
The idea is that we identify that there are waxes in the market, that, as you say, that they are not totally natural because these are a combination with pesticide. For the reason, our proposal value is that it's a totally natural product. It's very easy to handle, and it's sustainable, it's innovative, and also maintain the properties over time. And this is edible. We have all the toxicological samples that demonstrate that it's harmless.
I see you've got irradiation. The one category that irradiation, as I understand it, is the only one that works for is something like peppercorns. Will your solution work for peppercorns?
We are tasting many different fruits like strawberries, like blueberries, like asparagus. We don't taste with this food, but I think that we can customize the product to improve the shelf life of all the foods. It's our vision.
So which fruits have you tested with? So is it only the fruits with skins on the outside?
I'm going to cut you off on questions. And you have up to 2 minutes, up to 2 people to contribute advice and suggestions, whatever you think is appropriate.
I wonder,
you have to buzz in.
I'm wondering
buzz
how
in.
much you sold.
Go on, press the button.
What for?
This is how we do it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 minutes have I got to talk for?
Up to 2 minutes.
Okay, up to 2 minutes, okay. I'm wondering how much you've sold, so if we can sneak in a question, I want to know how much you've sold of the product. I suppose advice, I was a bit, obviously my question was like, where do you fit into this? And I think the more you can focus on a really small part of that chain, the better. You know, if you're trying to sell to a number of different people, it becomes more difficult
Uh,
in the early stages anyway?
I don't understand your question.
Okay. Well, my question is, how much have you sold in gallons or dollars?
1 gallon have 4 liters of this solution.
His
and
question is, have you
the
sold
gel-
this
The
already?
gel.
Is anybody using it already?
Mhm.
Is Tesco buying this, or is some producer in Peru already buying this from you and giving
See,
you money?
already we are with 2 exporters in Peru that use the product in mangoes and in lemons.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
How much have you sold to them? How many liters?
How many liters? I sold 1 bidon, 20 liters. 20 liters, because 1 gallon have a yield of 2,000 of kilograms.
Okay, 2 tons per gallon.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, so it's kind of on a pilot stage, but some people are already using it and people are eating the fruit and they are still alive.
Exactly.
Which is a good thing. It's a good thing.
Does it have to be marked? I mean, there was a lot of fuss around the time of irradiation because it's illegal to irradiate in Britain,
Yeah.
but it's not
So
illegal.
no
to,
peppercorn in Britain.
but it's not illegal to irradiate in France.
Yeah.
And then they discovered they had to put the peppercorns and the other spices to France before coming here to make them legal.
I see.
So, but I think it, but there was still a lot of fuss about extending shelf life, and was it really extended? So I just wonder if the product is marked, and whether you have customer acceptance.
So if I buy your banana, on the package does it say it's covered in your product?
For what?
If I go and buy this banana,
Okay.
we're out of time. Sorry. Well, regardless, regardless of kind of the challenges, obviously, food waste and the issues around global hunger is a massive, massive problem for society. So we're very excited about seeing the progress on your innovation here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have a banana. Thank you. For later. No. Is this coated? Of course it is. May I get Maria to prepare? There's a few Marias. Maria Fabiola. Yeah. You put the mic on, and in the meantime, Edson is gonna tell us about cancer classification. We all have a relative, or we know somebody who's come on, go there. Here you go. Who's personally suffered from cancer, and we know what a huge problem this is, and how often misdiagnoses happen, and even when we can do something, it doesn't really work. So, Edson, please tell us more.
Good morning. Our AI team developed AI IPAD, the automatic cancer classification tool, to reduce misdiagnosis. I am Edson Luque. I am AI specialist that work with many projects in collaboration with the top-rated universities in the world and South America. Okay. Do you know, according to the National Health Service, blunders by doctors cost $4 million a week. Yeah. But in case of cancer, the doctor believes misdiagnosis rates are around 0%. But let me tell you that according to the NHS, 15% of cancer patients are misdiagnosed. What? Why does this happen? The answer is because in clinical practice, the doctors analyze image and take notes in a disorderly way. This doesn't allow the doctor to take a correct assessment of cancer patients. In order to alleviate this problem, we present the AI IPAD tool that allows the doctor reduce the error putting together image and annotations. What happens to the video? Okay. Our competitors like Siemens developed similar tools, but our USP is the fact that the tool gives the doctor a second opinion in cancer classification, reducing the error using artificial intelligence. the tool automatically identified some change on cancer tumors that doctor might not see. Okay. Why the AI impact? Because we received grant funding by Sao Paulo state from Brazil. The first results are comparable to those of physician work achieved in 95%. Finally, our team is supported by the Laboratory of Imaging and Artificial Intelligence from Stanford University. Well, the progress in the lab, for me, the most important is how to be less technical. This is the business model. And what are the challenges? Well, actually, we are looking for funds from business angels to continue with the proof of concept in order to improve the accuracy of our technology, pass from 95% to 99%. Thank you.
Question around what sort of business do you want to create from this?
What?
Your pitch sounds like a research project. Are you wanting to create a business from this?
Yeah, the business is based on, well, the business is based on licenses of software. The market on Brazil. The business model is based on the market from Brazil. From Brazil, the 62% of all hospitals are private. This is a big market for us.
Okay.
To go through your whole test, how long does it take? So
test?
From diagnosis and everything, like a normal, how long would NHS take to diagnose a cancer patient? Probably 2 weeks. How long would your system take?
The system made a the system made a tracking of patient. During this tracking, the system detects some change that the doctor might not see, for example. This, for example, a treatment of cancer patient, and during 1 year, 2 years, the system worked in this time. Well, this is the time. It's I don't know, maybe during the treatment of.
And it's just another platform that you just input the same data that other doctors have written down in notes and things, and that's it. Okay.
Okay. Anybody has experience with medtech cancer? Yeah.
I didn't get a question in, and I start with a question really, but your pictures implied this was about imagery, about some kind of X-ray, scan or.
For now, I made the test validation with CT image, tomographies.
Okay.
But the goal of the system is support all kind of image.
But
such
so I was going to volunteer a connection with Philips in Belfast, who now they're not using these images, but they are using it's called when they take a section of a sample and look down a microscope. So they've got that remotely covered. So PathXL is the name of the company they bought, but Philips is operating that in Belfast, and so it seems to me what you've got may bolt. So that's where the data, the images, the other sorts of data are being sent, to a central point, and then your bot could work on that rather than rely on lots of different people in remote places.
Okay.
If that would be helpful.
Okay.
Anybody else? Wonderful.
Partner up as much as
Sure.
you can with people. Partner with other organizations, I think. It's going to be so tough to try and compete with Philips, Siemens, and others, IBM, whoever's getting into this. So the more you can create partnerships, the better.
Can you repeat it?
Yeah, so it's kind of which are your strategic partners that are already scaled up, right? And actually, Matthew, do you want to kind of clarify for him?
Okay.
I kind of jumped in here.
It's just, so Siemens and Philips
Okay.
and these leaders have lots more resources
Yeah.
than you have.
Uh-huh.
So to
Okay.
compete with them is very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Okay? But
Yep.
if you can partner on a particular part of your technology,
No, okay.
that's would be my advice.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Sami, please go and mic up, and Maria, welcome. More on the medtech people in the
I'm
round.
just gonna leave this here so that you can
Samples.
see it
Don't put blood. Put blood on them if you want. They already work here. Maria, you're on. Oh, sorry. Hannah, you're saving me again. I'm just going to use the moment to steal some water from here.
My phone is on Peruvian time.
Oh.
Yeah, I was messing about.
That's not me, I promise.
This is territory of the country of Peru.
Screwed up.
I think it resets it like that.
I was going to catch up with you once we take a break and jog your memory.
So how we can compare? We started at 10:15.
Yes, that's it.
It's not working. That's so weird. No, maybe it's down here, or I don't know, or here. I don't know where it is. Uh-huh. Ah, there. Okay. Okay, good morning. My name is Fabiola Valdivia, and I'm here to present my innovation, which is a rapid diagnostic test for leishmaniasis. So ever since I was a child, I've traveled around the rural areas of Peru, and this ignited in me the passion to help those who don't have access to healthcare or treatment, which is one of the reasons I became a biologist, a research biologist, and specifically I focused on tropical diseases because they are very common in Peru, but they are often forgotten. So what is leishmaniasis? Leishmaniasis is a tropical disease that causes skin lesions. In most of the time, 50% of the time, they're located in the face, and it's caused by a parasite. So it's often also forgotten because it attacks lower income population. And one of the main problems is with the current diagnosis. So it takes a long time. It is not accessible to point of health centers, which are located in rural areas. And it requires highly trained staff and sophisticated equipment. So meanwhile, the people of low income try to access to this diagnosis, the lesion keeps growing. So I work with a team of scientists in renowned scientific universities around the world. And we have developed and validated an enzyme test for the detection of the disease using molecules from the parasites. And this has been patented worldwide in United States and Europe. But we now want to take it to the next step. So right now, we have reduced the time of diagnosis. It is also accessible, but it still requires some equipment. So the next step, so the traction is that we've actually the LISA test has been validated in the laboratory, and we've sent it for external validation in laboratories in France and Belgium. I've also done training in a diagnostic company in Malaysia, where I learned the know-how on how to build dipsticks, which is our next step. And earlier this week, I just found out I won a $100,000 grant from the Peruvian government to keep on my research. So the next step is to actually transfer from an ELISA test to the dipsticks, which is what I showed you in the table, the dipsticks. So they're kind of like pregnancy tests. And so that would reduce our diagnosis from 4 hours to 30 minutes and the cost of $20 per patient to $2. The main problem is we don't have the lateral technology back at home in Peru. And so that's why the grant will allow us to start the production of the lateral flow assays. And our main customer would be the Ministry of Health in Peru. Why? Because they have access to about 80% of the population that are in risk of having this disease. However, the molecules we use can recognize other species of Leishmania, so eventually we want to go to other countries and other ministries of health in Brazil, Colombia, or around the world. So here in the UK, I actually made a really good contact in the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, who are developing these dipsticks for visceral leishmaniasis, which is another type of leishmaniasis we don't have back home. And they told me that if my ELISA prototype works, they'll contact me with a company that can actually start. Okay, my ask is I need grant funding to continue the production and start clinical trials to eventually get it out there to a Ministry of Health. Thank you.
Good.
Great, well done on the grant, on the 100K. That's fantastic. Well done, that's brilliant. So, so what happens after someone takes a test? So you test a load of people, and then it discovers that they've got the disease before it becomes visible?
So the problem with leishmaniasis is that you can have the disease, but you won't actually see the lesion until 3 months approximately. Okay. So most people go when they see that the lesion doesn't go away, and that's when they need the diagnosis. So after they're correctly diagnosed, because right now it's misdiagnosed around the world, so they're underestimated how many real cases there are. Right. So if they actually get good diagnosed, then they'll start the treatment, and the treatment is actually very expensive for the government. So the idea is to get a specific test and rapid test that will allow the treatment.
Is the treatment cheaper if you catch it earlier?
No, but the scars that will remain. So this. So you still get a scar from the lesion. So the earlier you start treatment, the smaller the scar is, and the less stigma it can cause to people. And
so it is cheaper to treat if you catch it early.
There's less chance of resistance towards the treatment and So after a few years, you can get other lesions, so it can reactivate. So the earlier you start treatment, the better it is.
Okay, got it.
In my country, there's 7,000 new cases a year. In Brazil, there's around 13,000 new cases a year. In Colombia, also around 10,000. Worldwide, it's estimated, it's endemic in 98 countries and 1 million new cases a year, but it's considered underestimated because of the misdiagnosis. Yes.
Has the government committed to pay for the test once you get it developed?
So I haven't actually contacted the government yet, and that's one of the main things I've learned here in the program is to actually, I must start my communication with the government once I go back home and see if it's the possibility.
I steal my extra 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the crucial thing here is to find the model of how government or private pays for the medicine, and then find, because what I think you said was that in Peru this is endemic in poor people who can't afford the medicine even at any price. So to get it developed, you may have to find somewhere that has the problem but has enough money to pay you, and then you could use it as a spin-off back in Peru.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I think
so we have an NHS, which is good in one way and bad in another. It's very slow and expensive to persuade it. In other countries, like in Eastern Europe and in the States, it's very local. Yeah. So you can persuade one health unit and their insurance company to do something. Okay. So the trick must be to find an area like that's where this disease is endemic, and they may pay for it. Okay. And then you can step back.
Step back. Okay. Okay, thank you.
And you know Maria Angelica from WAMA.
Yes, I talked to her, and they're interested because they don't have a diagnostic test for leishmaniasis.
Okay,
so
great.
yeah.
And also we've compiled a list of diagnostics things of that same type from other LEAF alumni, so you're kind of forming a little cluster here, and as soon as the alumni platform is launched, there would be a lot to talk about, I think,
Okay.
especially from Africa.
Thank you.
So, channels. Hey Maria, wonderful, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now, Samuel, please put the mic on for Maria. And in the meantime, Hannah is setting up a presentation, and I'm going to introduce Sami from Glucolib. Hello, sir. How many people know somebody who is a diabetic? Quite a few, right? It's a big problem in society. As soon as we get the presentation on, we'll see how we are solving some of these problems now. How many people know somebody who is kind of really conscious about their fitness and are willing to invest in gadgets like this to measure their health, right? It's popular. Please, let's focus on, oh, sorry guys, Sami.
Well, good morning. My name is Sami Mori. I have studied electronical engineering at Universidad Nacional de Ingeniería in Peru. I have worked as a medical researcher, medical technology researcher in glucose monitoring systems in the last 3 years. My main motivation to develop Glucolib is for helping people who suffer diabetes. This is the main problem that diabetics has to face every day, finger pricks. This is the biological waste that is generated by this treatment, the lancets and test strips. These are the consequences, the diabetic foot, heart diseases, and also blindness. This is my customer target, people who suffer diabetes type 1, type 2, and women in gestational diabetes. Until now, I have achieved government grants from Concitec and Novatec, which are institutions that for funding in Peru. I have achieved development of my system, and I also have medical research. These are my competitors in the world. Glucolib is a non-invasive glucometer that uses infrared technology. This is the device I put in the airlock to measure continuous measurements, to get continuous measurements. This is my team. I am the CTO, co-founder. I have achieved in London my business strategy to go to the market in the next 2 years. Well, I'm looking for funding. I'm also looking for partnership with companies involved in clinical devices market, and also I looking for collaborators. Thank you. This is not my my PPT, my presentation.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You should have told us. But good job on the spot there, improvising. Yeah.
Well, but
okay. So can I also buy one and use it for managing my fitness regimen? To manage my diet? I'm not a diabetic, but can I buy one and just use it so I know how?
Yes, you could use it, this device to prevent the diabetes, just to get information about your health. your glucose level in blood.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just think in your other presentation there was another use case for like a personal lifestyle device that it doesn't need to be medically certified. So I'm gonna give you that point and let 2 minutes start so you can get some questions.
My question, Sami, what is the actual problem?
The,
What is the problem with finger pricks?
people leave their treatment. They are treatment because they think that it's very painful to reach all the treatment, taking finger prips every day. So they get the illness consequences of diabetes.
Thank you.
So would you have to wear that every day, all day? And then you'll get a text message once your glucose level falls below optimal, and then they'll take a injection or they get something to eat or something like that. Is that how it works?
The treatment, the most common treatment that
Oh no, not the treatment. It's actually your device itself.
my device is
Yeah.
a non-invasive glucometer. We
Do
use.
you wear it constantly? If you take it off,
Yes,
is there a problem?
I could use. Well, we could use constantly, and this device could measure every day and every time.
And it send it to your mobile.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we use the mobile to register all the measurements, and also to manage all the function that the device has.
Have you, at the Royal Academy last night, in the Enterprise Hub, there was a project reporting which sounds very similar, except that it's a micro needle on a patch. Have you talked to them? I can't remember their name.
Abbott make an inserted.
This
Well,
is
this was a small company. I can't remember the name of it, but it was the idea was there was a set, you know.
They will
this
focus
is-
on the questions. I think we need to give an extra few minutes because
Yeah.
not few minutes, but few seconds.
I'm just-
we
I'm
kind
just
of went
sugge-
off track a little bit. Can
I'm
you
just
please answer-
suggesting that the team introduce the company
Yeah.
because you will have common problems, or either can do a partnership
Yes,
or
I
whatever.
know that glucose.
I don't know anybody else.
That's for the 2 minutes after.
Okay. Okay.
So is there any other question for Sami here? Okay, good. Going to the introductions, actually in the alumni community from last year, there's a fairly successful company that does kind of a micro dosage solution for what's the substance that helps you from your pancreas? Insulin, yeah. My kind of a very small delivery system for insulin where you can kind of measure your activity and kind of do small doses. And it would be wonderful to connect you with them. It's on my to-do list to put you in touch. Anybody else has any suggestions for support besides Norman's introductions? No? Good?
Nope.
Yeah, anybody from the audience has a comment that can help them, maybe introductions? Yeah?
I think the key thing is to make sure, is to try to validate the accuracy and the latency times of the device versus existing devices that type 1 diabetes use. So some of the devices out there don't respond fast enough. And I think latency and accuracy, if you can validate that, then you can share it with companies like Abbott's who make these. You know, it's a massive, massive market and a huge growing market. And of course, a non-invasive monitor is actually what everybody wants, yes. Right? No one wants to put needles in themselves, but the key is validating the accuracy and the latency with existing devices that the sector uses.
Right now we are in the development stage. We are improving our accuracy and the lightness.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And then last presentation before our break. Let's have Samuel here. And Hannah. And he's going to tell us about the Centrix measurement system. Oh, of course. Hey, good job.
Thank you.
Good. Give us a minute to set you up. please, let's give the floor to Samuel.
Start.
Please go.
Hello, everyone. My name is Samuel Portocarrero. I'm an electronic engineer with a master's degree in acoustic engineering, and I'm here to present the Centrix measurement system. I want to share with you an experience. 9 years ago, I was at the grandstand of a stadium watching a Metallica concert. I had many expectations for this concert, but the sound was ruined. I couldn't hear clearly along with 50,000 fans in that stadium. But that's happened because the architects and the engineers and the sound designers doesn't really know the behavior of the sound sources. In fact, if they don't know this information, they don't really know where to place the loudspeakers and which direction point those speakers, or in fact, if those speakers are properly for the purpose, which is create a great sound experience and also communicate the information in a correct way. So as you can see in these images. So the loudspeakers or even the sound sources has a particular behavior of sound distribution pattern that I call SDP, that it depends in the angle or even in the frequency that it works. So this information is mostly necessary in order to know the interaction between the sound speaker with the structure or the space where this speaker function. In fact, using wrong information of the SDP represents losses about up to 30% of the total investment of the project, and also losses of time of redesigners of the project, of the acoustic and architectural project. So that's why I developed the Centrix project, which is a fully automated system to improve the sound distribution and also ensure the communication. And also this system gives the SDP data in a fast, efficient, and accurate way. And also the best thing is that this system can measure any kinds of loudspeakers. So this is just a start, because our next goals is to measure not only sound speakers, but also heat sources, antenna sources, light sources, and any kind of sources that must need to measure the radiation and the distribution. So Centrix Evolution, I've been working in this project since 2009 up to 2016 in the acoustic laboratory in Peru, which my advisor, Dr. Jorge Moreno, which is a great, he has a large experience in acoustics. So my business model is based in leasing and also selling. The leasing structure is based like this. The Centrix measurement system is directional for the customer acoustic designers, architects designers, musicians, and sound engineers. So they can leasing paying $500, so we can give to them the SDP data and also a report of the measurements. And also the selling structure is based for these segments, the manufacturing industry, acoustic laboratory, concert halls, and research centers. We only pay $3K for each one, and also giving maintenance, repairs, spare parts, and support. The challenge we face is in the country.
To the ask, it's fine. Because we need to wrap up. Give us an ask.
Ask?
Yeah. How can we help you?
So, well, we need $200K in order to perfect the MVP, improve the marketing, hire a business guy, and build more units for the prototypes. So for the first year, we can raise $33K, and the second year, we can raise $132K. So this is the incoming charge. As you can see, in the fourth year, we can raise $210 with this project. Thanks so much.
So what do you sell? Is it a thing that goes underneath the speaker that moves it?
Yeah, that's right.
And does it change, like in that Metallica concert?
Yeah.
During the concert, do they move?
No, the system measures the loudspeaker in a laboratory space in order to know the SDP, the radiation, the distribution of the sound of this speaker. So with this data, the architect or the designer can use this information to make a simulation of the loudspeaker between or with the space. In this case, with the stadium.
So they get that information and then they just put the speakers in the right place.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not sure my question, but I'm kind of surprised that loudspeaker makers don't have that when they,
Not all the loudspeakers have that information. for example, the homemade loudspeakers in my country. There are mostly companies that manufacture loudspeakers, and they don't have this information, or even they don't measure in the correctly way this information about the loudspeaker. So, as you can see, this data is mostly important not only for a good experience of sound or pleasure. It's necessary for transmit the information for a good communication.
And how many of these how many licenses do you think you could generate?
Licenses?
Yeah, the model of 500 pounds a piece, or $500 a piece. Yeah, the leasing.
Leasing. Well, as you can see in the first year, I'm planning to make 3 listens per month, and the second year at least 10 listens per month. But this is only with the Centrix measurement, just only for loudspeakers. For the third year, we rise up to the next sources, kind of sources like heat sources, antennas, and other. This opens a wide range of market, not only for architects or acoustic designers.
I'm just sort of wondering if big pop concerts are the best market to go after.
Yeah.
Because you talked
also
about light and antenna and heat.
Yeah.
I don't know, are there bigger problems to solve with those than sound at concerts?
Because you can measure also the distribution of the heat, for example, as a calefactor or as a heat source, and also a light in the closed spaces. You can measure the distribution of the light, or in which direction you must point your light source.
Okay. Any advice, Samuel?
Focus on one of those things. I mean, it's great that it may be able to be used in lots of different areas, but don't spread yourself too thin.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Who would be the first person you would speak with in order to get some traction behind this? Any of you?
Well, it sounds like you can sell it already, so you just need some proof. So if you can say that that your system improved the Metallica concert and everybody there enjoyed it more, then I suppose that might convince the right investors.
Okay.
So it's kind of testimonials.
I'd be concerned that you're not going to make enough money per sale, and each sale would take too long. I'd want to make something, find a way of making more money per sale and shortening your sales cycle. Otherwise, it feels like you're going to run out of money.
Is there something unique about your technology? Is it just cheaper version of what these big speaker manufacturers are doing, or is there a different approach?
There exist similar products in the market already, not in Peru, but yes in Europe. But my system is an improve of those evolutions, because my system can measure any kind of shapes of those speakers with the same system. And also with the next goals, we can measure not only, as I say, not only speakers. We can measure with the same system a heat source, or maybe an antenna, or maybe a Wi-Fi source, things like that.
Okay.
So
kind of the innovation is in the algorithms and mathematical models.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Good. Anybody want to comment something from the audience, since we have time? Okay, wonderful. Let's take a 15-minute break and get some coffee, and I'll see you back at 20 to... Look, what's the time?
11:15.
Okay. Let's see you at 11:30. Yeah. Well, my phone is on Peruvian time. Huh? Oh, it's 11:25. Okay, so your clock is wrong. So let's see you 20 to 12.
Okay.
just saying. Okay. Oh, and Enzo.
Yes.
I love this project. Enzo was. He's a robotics guy, as far as I can tell, or he's already an android. Or cyborg, sorry, a cyborg. Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Well, Enzo, off to you then. Yeah. In the meantime, had a lovely time with Enzo from Peru these 2 weeks. He taught me a lot about how do you live with one hand and some of the challenges around that, and how actually this empowered his life to do some truly amazing things and kind of develop other skills, including making these things he's going to tell you about in a moment. Yeah. And he's also been really good at helping me kind of convey messages to other people who kind of complex business concept messages. So he's going to bring some exciting things to you.
Can I start? Thank you.
Oh, yeah, you're done. Go.
Hello, I'm Enzo Romero. I am a mechatronics engineer, and I was born without my right hand. My lifetime dream was to... Oh, it's not working.
Stop the time?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, let's get it from the top.
No.
Is it working now?
No, I think I'm passing through other person's PPT, and this is frozen.
I see. Okay. And this is the next. Sorry, I forgot how to use Windows. Yeah, honestly, it's changed a bit, and it's been 10 years for me. So
that's not
like,
my idea.
Yeah, you get scared.
This is not mine. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. I should find something open source at this point.
Can I restart again? Please? Okay, so hello, I'm Enzo Romero. I'm a mechatronics engineer, and I was born without my right hand. My lifetime dream was to build a robotic prosthetic hand for myself. But do you think I am the only one with this condition? Well, no. We're more than 2.4 million people in developing countries. In Peru, we're talking about 12,600 people, a country where the minimum salary is around $280, and the cost of a hook-type prosthesis is $1,600. That is why we have created Giving a Hand, an initiative where we develop low-cost personalized hand prostheses using digital manufacturing technology in order to shorten the manufacturing time, in order to get the lateral reintegration of the user. In order to do it, first we 3D scan both the amputee section and the hand, then we design the entire hand in the computer, and finally get to build it by using 3D printers. But this is just the middle part of a bigger program who has a pre-phase and a post-phase, where both a psychologist and a therapist gets to work with the user. Because we want to keep the low cost, but we do not want to sacrifice the quality of it. Our business model is direct selling to our users. So our entire package is around $750, which is 50% less than the actual hook-type prosthesis model. Our team has an expertise of more than 4 years working with myoelectric hands at the Biomechanics and Applied Robotics Laboratory in Pontifical Catholic University of Peru. So far, we have 5 users using our prosthesis. We have raised more than 72,000 pounds since 2016. And next year, we'll be developing our very first pilot program with 10 UA4 users with Repsol, a company that works in Peru. So my UK progress has been here about changing my business model. Back in Peru, all that I wanted was to work with companies with CSR initiatives. But here, I learned that this was not a sustainable model because there were no many companies working on this. So right now, we have changed it. We're going to be a for-profit company. And the way we will work is throughout the very first spin-out company that will exist in Peru, working with Catholic University. So what is my challenge? Even after that I have downsized the price of my prosthesis, those prostheses are not affordable enough. So I came with 2 solutions. First, offering small loans. So I will ask you for introductions to financial institutions in order to structure these loans for my users. And a second solution, being subsidized by NGO and foundations. So also ask you for introductions to people that are currently working in NGOs and foundations here at the UK. As I told you, I was born without my right hand. And it was my lifetime dream to build a robotic hand for myself. But you know what? It's no longer my dream anymore. It belongs to many more people. So please, be our voice and be our hands. Thank you so much.
great stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What's much better about your hand than maybe the others that are manufactured?
Yes, so our is personalized to the user. If you want to buy a hook type prosthesis, the only thing that will change will be the size of it, but it will not be adapted to the personal prosthetic case of our user.
So the fit is better?
The fit is better, and the hand of the size is equal to the other hand because we 3D scan it.
Okay.
But it's not all just the weight, but also, it's not just the size, but also the weight. Because it's really important. If it's a prosthesis that you're going to use for your entire life, or the rest that you're going to use, it has to be on the weight of the other hand, because then you get to have problems with your column. Yes.
How durable?
How durable? Okay, so our warranty is about 2 years of a lifetime. We get to, if there's a broken piece, we get to change it and assemble it on that process. And after those 2 years, we'll do the payment for the manufacturing cost of the piece only just to the user. Since every user gets to be 3D scanned, each prosthesis is in our database. So we just need to print that piece and we'll assemble it for free.
How long does it take from getting initial scan to end product?
Yes. So our entire process is about 1 month, including the pre and post service. Just the creation of the design of the prosthesis goes around 3 to 4 days.
And anyone can scan it with a 3D printer or take pictures of it, send it to you?
Yes,
And then
yes. So because we have created a program for both the occupational therapists and the psychologists, a structured program, it can work both in Peru and in other countries, which is our mission. Jump to Ecuador and Bolivia, who has the same problematic, but less population of people.
You're still very handcrafted, if you pardon the expression. Have you done the calculations to show, how much the price would come down, even at the current technology, if you were doing it in bulk using, robots or whatever in the process?
Yes, yes. So even after including the entire services, our is 50% less than the current model, and this one is the most basic one that you can get in Peru. In order to have a myoelectric imported model, it's around $25,000 to get it.
My point is, you're getting it down to $750,
Yes.
but you're only making a few a month.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But if you were making hundreds or thousands a month, the price will always drop.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
the learning curve. Have you done that sum to say how low could it go at whatever volume you think the entire, that you could sustain?
Okay, so far we haven't done that, but that is the main objective that we want to get with this pilot for 20 users in 2019. So we want to know when we get to have a higher production, if the price of everything goes down.
I think from a business model point of view, I really like the idea of providing loans, because then you get recurring payments from
Yes.
people, and they will. I know someone who
Yes.
I can find out what they're doing, and he did a similar model for people's education, and they paid off that loan for their education before anything else. So people will be so committed to paying this off because it has such a great benefit.
Yes.
You'll probably get no defaults on the loans.
That's
So
what
that
we
would be a
hope.
great model to go for.
Thank you.
And then you get recurring revenue as well.
So what are some problems then? Would you invest?
I keep seeing things where, the technology in prosthetic limbs seems to be moving very fast, and getting more real, touch and,
Yes.
and sensoring and all that sort of stuff. As with anything, I suppose the cost of that technology will come down. So will that come down enough so that people will get that rather than yours? But if you're the finance function, that would be a great business to be in.
Thank you.
I guess.
This wasn't the problem.
But
It's not really, or go to poorer countries where they can
Yes,
just have
yes.
this.
I think I would flip Lino's question, is that I think, and it relates to the loan because I like the loan too, but I think it would be good to demonstrate what extra you can do for that degree of functionality. In other words, what sort of jobs could you do now that
Yes.
you couldn't do, and that then tells you the affordability of the loan, and you make that connection, and it
Yeah.
Tell
wraps
the
it up.
story.
This is great
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do you approach doing that? I mean, if you were in the executive role there, how do you, because it's a great idea, Norman, obviously, how do you actually execute that?
Well, I think I would have some. You've got lots of users.
Yes.
I would.
So
You would simply ask them.
Message.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
well, yeah, but you need some evidence,
Yeah.
you know, from them, but then you put that into money. That's why it.
But do you think somebody who is missing a hand actually it does need convincing that a hand would be useful?
No, they
Yeah.
don't. They may not need convincing, but,
But they would make the
but
money.
model. You need to understand whether they can now, and I don't. This is where the market, you know, what jobs are available that they couldn't do with one hand.
Yeah.
With only
Oh.
one hand.
Yes, economic empowerment.
That's the story to tell.
Yeah, it's the economic empowerment. That's a good word for it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Economic empowerment.
And then you tell the loan company, or
Yeah, exactly.
that can be.
So it's the marketing towards the loan companies. Is this 2 or 4 minutes?
That was 2.
Okay, another 2. Okay.
So that's what I'm thinking, and then I think it sells itself very well.
Yeah, and you need a financial partner rather than the different model where you're considering setting up a foundation and donations, which is far more exciting the way you're
And
approaching
I
it.
think people would like that anyway.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
And then I start to wonder, like building on that. So once you've got these people, this is don't get too distracted. But once you've got these people paying off loans for their prosthetic hand, right? What else can you do for them?
Yes.
Yeah.
In
yeah.
that new job that they've got.
It is.
What other data can you get? What other money can you give them that they can then pay back?
Yes.
I tell you who has written about it. I tell you who has written about it in but not in relation to that. But the late Hans Rosling did a lot of work with the he was an economist doctor with the well his works you can see it on BBC, but I think he was with the UN and and I think the models that he's developed there show in particular how empowering a bicycle is, but I don't think he did how empowering an extra limb is.
Yeah. If I can jump in here, I've actually over the last 10 years at different stages advised 2 companies with similar propositions in different markets. And what went off track there was that they had a product that they tested with users, they liked it, it was 10x cheaper for whatever technology use, approach, distribution, whatever. And in both cases, they somehow got into scope creep of additional things they can do with these disabled people. They're kind of supplying where effectively they were still cheaper because of a technology approach advantage, but they kind of their complexity of actually scaling up this production and keeping the costs low and kind of the key engineers are not involved and kind of their production costs climbed up closer to this other old technology, and then because of the scale and operational maturity of these other companies, they became completely unsustainable.
The other one is other limbs, because I mean you've obviously worked in a hand because of you, but again a leg or a piece of a leg.
Oh, of course, that is our plan for the future. We want to develop technology for rehabilitation.
Yeah, exactly. And what these guys said, basically, to put it in other frames, is if you become kind of the solution provider for these people who are low income and focus on whatever technology is best and greatest and latest in the world, and your key activity maybe moves away from actually designing and producing these things, but rather from sourcing from other designers and manufacturers components and solutions to either assemble them and get the ready solutions, but you have an end-to-end solution with the financing, with figuring out how this connects with economic empowerment, understanding that market segment. Yeah. Your competence in engineering is still as relevant, but then the business model is very different, and this is far more sustainable potentially. Yes, so I think you guys gave great advice there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
High five. I'm gonna poof. Did you get that? I would love that. We'll do it again for the cameras. Okay, and Renzo, you're ready?
Ready.
Stay here, my friend. And then the next person who needs to mic up is Abraham. Right? Did I pronounce this correctly? Yeah, Abraham Peña. Wonderful. Yeah, I actually have a family relative who died recently with problems related to hypertension, and we all have people like that in our families and friends, and we've all had this old relative where we had to kind of measure their blood pressure and run to their house because they're really afraid and they can't handle the equipment and so on. Renzo is going to tell you how he's going to address this problem in a new way.
Good morning. My name is Renzo Calderon. I'm a physician, a researcher, and an innovator from Peru. I have collaborated with world-leading institutions and have international experience. And probably, as Lino said, many of you know someone that suffers from hypertension. In my case, it was my grandmother. And unfortunately, she died 5 years ago due to this disease. Complications of hypertension are the first cause of mortality in the world, and it affects 1 of every 3 adults, especially affecting elderly people. But what can we do to tackle this disease? Monitor. If we monitor hypertension, we can diminish the devastating consequences of this disease. There have been some improvements in some devices. Some of them use Bluetooth, some of them use Wi-Fi, even some smartphone apps. But it has been really hard, especially for elderly people. Do you imagine an 85-year-old grandmother trying to pair a device with their smartphone? It's even harder for us to find the Wi-Fi from the hotel. Imagine if your life would depend on that. We have developed a telemonitoring blood pressure device that is really easy to use. It will allow you to share your data in real time with your doctor. You can take it everywhere. It uses a cheaper communication system, and you can even get reminders to take your pill or to monitor your blood pressure. And the telemonitoring market is growing fast, and it's estimated to be worth $3 billion by 2025. And with an aging population, we have an exponential growth of potential customers. But how are we going to deliver our device to our users? Our first approach will be through insurance companies, but we will also be selling directly to the users or through their caring families. We will not only be selling our device, but we will also include a recurrent service fee. This will allow the patients to share their data and to be monitored by the physicians. So far, we have finished our first clinical trial that included 40 patients, connecting them with primary care physicians, and we have achieved a 10% reduction in blood pressure, a significant reduction for these patients. During my visit in the UK, I have established key partnerships with leading institutions in the country, but I have also learned about business model, how to transmit clearly my ideas, about mentorship, and share it with my fellows from Latin America. My team is built up from experts in biomedical informatics, marketing, and we have a passion to tackle this disease. We have also key advisors as the ex-former Minister of Health in Peru, epidemiologists of world renown, and specialized in entrepreneurship and business. What we're looking for: funding for manufacturing and sales, key partnership for marketing development, and strategic alliances like in the NHS. In 1 year, we expect to have 5,000 active users, and in 3 years, 50,000 active users. So please help us want to be the ambassadors of blood pressure control worldwide. Thank you very much.
How much money do you need?
Right now to start, $20,000.
And how long will that last?
Until that will allow us to build our first 200 batch of devices, so then we can run in.
What about your operational overheads? What about your business costs for running your business?
We haven't got yet the financial yet.
Okay, I think you need to times that by about 10, maybe more, maybe 100.
Okay. Thank you.
Could you say again what the essential differences between your pairing apps and what you've got? Is yours plugged into the phone line?
Sure. No. So this is all the clinical trials on telemonitoring right now. There are 7, and with ours is the 8th. But many of them give them the monitor to the patient, and the patient have to introduce manually the values, or in the computer or in the smartphone apps. With ours, the only thing that the patient has to do is push a button, and the message is going to send directly. They don't need a smartphone. They don't need a computer. So it's all built inside the system.
But is it a phone line or a satellite?
Oh, it uses GSM. It has a GSM card inside.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry for that. Yeah, it uses GSM.
Yeah, that's right.
And with that data, the physician can make decisions in treatment adjustments or office visits for the patients.
In your business model, if the patient stops paying, what happens? Does the device stop, or the insurance company stops getting their dashboard, or the family stops receiving the data?
Yes. So we have a pay up front for the device, and the recurrence fee is for the sharing data. So if the patient stops paying the recurrence fee, they will still be allowed to measure the blood pressure, but they won't be able to share the data with the physician. And all that telemonitoring system,
company, right?
or the insurance company.
Yeah, and they will lose the analytics.
They will lose the tracking analytics.
There's a hook there.
Yes.
Wonderful. After you guys, how we can help this guy?
I wonder if you should consider a rental model
No?
So instead of buying the unit, you just charge them $15 a month instead of, so you've no upfront fees, so there's no friction in terms of people actually using your product. And therefore they'll also get the benefit of the constant monitoring, which has got to be, I would imagine, the main benefit has got to be the fact that someone in clinical has that data.
Exactly. Thank you very much. We will definitely look for that.
Does anybody know an insurance company who would like to pilot that would care? What would be the biggest challenges in actually getting to work? Because like this model, I think it has a meaningful value proposition on both sides, but then it's not easy to sell to an insurance company, right? It's a horrible sales cycle. So what would get them to actually do a contract like this? Or is this the wrong business model?
They need lots of evidence. Yeah. Lots of evidence to go to insurance companies.
So how would you collect the evidence? Through families?
Yeah, you could do that in a clinical, if you had a trial, studies that you were using.
But that's expensive. Can't he get the customers to do it? Because the device is reliable, right?
Insurance companies will need trials.
Yeah, but can you get the data if you sell it to a bunch of consumers? Like I would have loved that while my grandmother was alive to have something like that.
So if it was treated as a trial, and it was with controls, then but that's what insurance companies will require.
So how would you execute that if you were him? Would you just look for more money, raise it, and then fund the trial, or you would?
Ideally, that's what you do, but you want to make sure that you've got the insurance companies on board now.
Yeah, and what about if he doesn't have access to capital? Because he needs to go back to Peru on Sunday and start working, right? So how would you approach it? Capital might not be readily available.
You've got to sell it, haven't you?
Yeah, okay. And then you have a cost of consumer acquisition issues, right? Yeah. Do you guys have any ideas of how he should execute next week?
I mean, I think you do need partnerships with like-minded bodies, and there's no reason why we couldn't use the Newton. You know, there's quite a lot of that type of device going on in Belfast, and I'm sure it's elsewhere too. But I mean, the big one for us is defibrillators, but the sales model will be the same, and that's done in Ulster University as much as anywhere. So, a colleague, a friend of mine, Jim McLaughlin, does it. But whether Jim's already overloaded with time, whether he would want to respond, but whether he could or not is the question. But
I wonder about partnering with charities, hypertension charities as well, because they have a similar motivation.
And also there is associations of patients with hypertension, association of elderly patients that will also be interested.
But there's a global company based in Boston, which came to Northern Ireland as well, but spreads out. But is the link between hospitals and I'm trying to remember its name because it changed its name, but they may be a place that you could interface to.
And lastly, in January of this year, Cambridge finished their first clinical trial on telemonitoring of these devices. They don't use a device as mine. They use SSM. They give the device and the patient has to enter it. And they are encouraging and partnering starting with the NHS. So that's very important.
I mean, the one thing I was going to say, there is a Qualcomm device already passed by the NHS which does the interlink.
Yeah, but you have to still.
Oh no, there's a license fee, but I don't know what the price is. But you know, you could compare with that or see where that's at.
So we will be in communication with them.
What I'll do for you is last year we had somebody in the program called Mohammed Azim, who is from Egypt, and he developed a simulator for training cardiologists, which is a massive problem. He has immense traction. One of the, I think, success stories of LIV. He has you're obviously complementary in many ways, and he has some top-notch internationally recognized cardiologists and kind of companies on the board already. So I think you guys should talk, and I'll facilitate the introduction.
Sure.
He would love to help you. And thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Who loves hiking here? Yeah, I'm not a big hiker myself, but my uncle, he actually died recently from a cardiological problem, but he still could do more push-ups than I could at age 88, quite recently. And he used to hike endless kilometers, but lately, you know, it wasn't so easy for him. And I think for a lot of young people around the world, it would be nice if we can kind of keep up with our more advanced buddies. So the guy is going to give us kind of an interesting, cool solution to that problem.
Okay.
Please go.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Israel Luis. I am researcher and inventor. And actually I studied engineering because I like Iron Man. I dreamed this that one day I can build this device. And actually this was science fiction in the 80s, but not anymore. Actually there is a market for it, for human augmentation technologies. So suits that improve our quality of life and also can give us super strength, if you want to call it. As we notice here, there is a market in 2021 of about $23 billion. And the market is well spread. As you can see here, one of the most principal markets is fitness and well. I noticed this, and since I like this technology, I wanted to do something that fits this market. That's why I spent 2 years of my life in order to build this device. This is Lofte. This is the world's first wearable enhancer to agile walking. So when you dress it, you feel lighter when you walk. How does it work? Well, it has a patent technology. It has a micro motor that I invented. It's this size. And what it does is it stores energy and uses energy to propel me forward. Therefore, I feel lighter when I walk, and also has sensors who personalize the assistant that I receive. Since I have this technology, I then call a member of different expertise in order to launch this product into the market. Which market did we find? Well, after some 2 years of market feeding, we noticed that trekking is one of the most promising ones. Why? Because people want to walk long distances, but usually people doesn't have the fit to do it. We have interviewed more than 100 people, and we have validated this statement. We are planning to sell this product at $240 with a gross margin of 50%, and also we are going to sell it to the touristic agencies, so they can rent it to their touristic public. We have started in 2017, and since then we have done 6 prototypes, patents, we have done some pilots, and thank you to the Leader of Innovation Fellowship, now we have the confidence in order to launch our first crowdfunding campaign during the next year. Our ask is the following. We are looking forward to meet investors to have 100K in order to finalize the prototyping, do some lab testing, and then launch our first crowdfunding campaign. Also, we are looking now to people who has experience in crowdfunding or who has worked in the sport retail industry, so they can give us a support in order to launch this product into the next year. I feel so confident because I use it every day, or at least 3 hours per week, and I feel that this technology works, and I'm confident that we are going to reach the market by 2021. So I would like to say that if you have something that we can improve our statement, thank you very much, and I'm ready for the questions. Thank you.
I love it. I wonder why you don't market it through the Machu Picchu trail, because everybody wants to everybody wants to walk that and think I can't make it.
Actually, we won this year. We won an award in Peru, and he's president of one touristic agency, and he told us that actually he bought one of our device, and he wanted to do it for Machu Picchu. So we are going to do that for the next year in April, May. That's our plan.
That could be a great publicity thing, right?
Yes.
You get lots of old people to the top.
Yes. Yes. So actually, we're looking for investment so we can have a large production, and then we have a lot of people who were doing this Machu Picchu thing, and then we are going to launch our crowdfunding campaign.
What I thought of there as well, I mean, the trekking is a great, I'm sure that's a great market to go after, but I just think who's got lots of money, and who could this benefit? And I just think of the military.
Yes, we also thought about that. This is the defense.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the first market, and since in Peru we don't have that much strong army, we didn't think about that at the beginning. So this is the first market we're going to address. Okay. Then we're going to healthcare or defense. Okay. That's our thought.
They think you would think they would like it, but they don't.
They don't? Are they already doing stuff?
Yeah, there's loads of stuff going on. I question the product market fit. I think you'll sell a bunch to people that want to do walks, but I think your
you'll plateau quite quickly in terms of how much you sell. I think you'll go to a Kickstarter, I think you'll be successful, and then I think you'll just flatline. I think you need to find people who have got a real use for this product, and it's not people that are going to do the Machu Picchu trail. I think it's people who are, you've got Amazon, a picture up there, who's on their feet all day, employees in warehouses, supermarkets. They have a health and safety responsibility for those people, and they also want to make sure that they're efficient and productive. I think you need to find a bigger reason for want to do this rather than just walking along a trail, because 10% is no, so what? 10% in business is big, costs money. I think there's a much better product market fit.
Thank you very much for your advice. Yeah, actually, yeah, this is the first market, but we are going to again rethink our target market once we reach this.
I think your red sector of your pie will be about 1/10 of that, and your enterprise will be much bigger.
Okay,
I think they'll buy it.
Do you collect any data from when they walk in or something?
Don't worry. This is wait. No problem. We unfortunately have to wait for it to go up, so wait for it to come down. It's one of those. Yeah. Please keep going. Give us some extra time.
Data?
Yes, actually we have an app. We use an app, and we can collect all the data. Actually, the quality of walking is what we call it. We can,
Quality of walking. So what kind of data does that collect?
Yeah, it's how the leg move across the walking. So usually, if you have an anomaly, we can track that.
Yeah.
Yes, and we have it on the app. But we didn't mention yet because we are still wanted to reach this, which is getting people to walk. Then we're going to do the app.
Yeah, because I think like what everyone else has said, military, healthcare will be a lot more profitable.
And also another interesting market is obese people. For instance, people who have overweight, they can use this device in order to train them, and do more physical exercise. Yeah.
There's a reason why you use it.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, here you can see it. You can have it actually.
Finding a use for something every day.
Yes.
Make you a company. I think you'll make
money.
money.
It's very light. It's very light. And we have done some tests, and people like it actually. Yep. We have done more than 40 users so far. Okay.
Rhinos of user 41. I'm 42.
You're only 42, man.
Yeah. I walked to my place yesterday, 2 days ago. Yeah. It was fun. A bit of a hassle to put on and off. I think you can improve that, but it's a prototype, right?
But it would add to
this finally got refreshed. It wasn't working at all.
An awful lot easier to manage if you do a bit more walking for using a bus or whatever. So you don't need to.
Yeah, you just maybe it needed to cool off after it went up, and that's why it wasn't coming out. I know how to use it. Just it's not.
Healthcare, obese people, absolutely.
People that actually
find a reason
do need it or have bone problems or things like that. I think that will be.
Wonderful. Did you give him some good support?
Yep.
Wonderful.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Well done.
Let's do it like this. Let's do the high five, the low five.
The low five.
And Hannah is gonna set us up now. We're waiting for the projector to come online. We have a lot of technical problems today. I wonder. And we're getting hacked. The phones.
Maybe they're hacking the screen.
Okay. Somebody is receiving a call, it seems. Yeah, wonderful. We had Walter, you ready? Yes. We're waiting for the screen. Let's give you a minute. And then I want to get Luis Izquierdo. Am I pronouncing this correctly, Luis? Wire up. Luis, put the microphone on if you haven't. Yes. We have Walter here, super anxious to come on stage. He's ready.
Okay, yeah.
Don't turn it off. Yeah.
See?
We're stealing all your data. That's why we're keeping you captive here. Yeah, otherwise we can move to the next room. That would be our fallback. But we can give you 2 minutes to fix that, and then we'll just move everybody to the next room. Well, actually, we can't. Yeah, the camera would be a bit of a hassle. We can, I don't know how to handle this. Maybe bring a TV from the other room. We should probably get Miguel here. Or I can act up the slides. I probably know them by memory now, and I can.
To be honest, if you turned that around, I mean, okay, the audience couldn't see, but we could see.
Yeah, right. We wanna. One of our judges has a hard deadline, so he'll probably miss the last couple of presentations, which is fine. We'll work around that. I promise you everything's properly looked after. And we still need to figure out who stole the clickers. Ah.
That represents 60% of the population. And in addition, there are 2 million of people with diabetes, and it's growing very fast. This costs $1 billion to the government each year. My name is Walter. I am CEO of Next Medical, and I have a solution to this problem. Our solution is a mobile platform that connects patients with nutritionists to give a constant monitoring of the diet, weight, and physical activity. And also, patients will receive personal advices and access to clinics and laboratories. Today, patients pay $20 per session, and nutrition only receive 30% of each consultation. With Next Medical, we create a free and premium price. For premium, nutrition will give an advice and access to clinic labs, and nutrition will receive 17% comparing with the private clinics. There are another mobile applications in Brazil. However, these put rigid diets, and also in Peru there are patients receive information through the TV or another applications, or maybe clinics. However, Next Medical, its competitive advantage is personalization and usability. During the 2 weeks in LEAF program, before I arrived at the LEAF program, I want to connect physicians with patients, doctors with patients. However, it was difficult to encourage doctors, but in those 2 weeks, I found a new market that is One Nutrition with 80 patients on board using this mobile platform. The market is growing up, and 70% of the population suffers from obesity. Our team is conformed for science, systems engineering with its app developer, myself, and a nurse, and also nutrition with 10 years of experience. My big challenge is because we found a new niche of market. I want how to grow up. I need to funds for marketing and sales of public service and attend to these meetings of where nutrition is state. Thank you.
I think I'd like to understand the business model in terms of how you might connect with government to pay for this. If they're spending $1 billion a year, how can you tap in? How can you access some of those funds?
Yes, when I return to Peru, I will apply for a innovative to receive a fund. I will apply, but if $1 billion spent the government in this disease, I think it's a huge opportunity to them to receive a fund and make another steps. But for now, I propose business to customer.
The thing is, I've worked a lot with one particular diabetes organisation that's now had a couple of million of funding and is NHS approved. I think you should look at the competitive landscape outside Peru and see what other people are doing, because you could learn an awful lot. One of the missing pieces, I think, is psychological services. So why are people overeating? Understand that would also help them reduce their weight loss. So there's a nutritionist, psychologist, clinical mix. It may be more effective at reducing people's risk of diabetes.
Perfect. I will consider this advice into the business model to improve the effective way of the treatment. Thank you.
In terms of gathering data, how do you expect your clients, your customers to do that? Do they just jump onto a PC and just type in what they eat every day, or how does it work? For you to tell them?
Because we propose mix technology with nutritionists. Nutritionists give patients has access to contact with nutritionists that have damage with what need to eat, or first personalized diet for each patient started the treatment of this. Can you repeat? Is it correct or?
So
I understand. Repeat.
So it's getting that data first. How would a customer give you that data? How would they tell you that this is what I'm eating every day? How would that whole cycle work? When it goes to you, what do you do with it, and how do you create a personalized diet?
Yes, nutritionists meet with each patient and create a personalized diet according to their habits, and to don't make a change, bigger change, so a few change in each of their habits of their people.
Has anybody of you worked on or seen a similar product in Europe, for example? Which is kind of
Yeah, I've seen the same one that Duncan has.
Malpath.
Yeah.
I've invested in another one called Live Smart that does blood testing, so it's kind of close. It made me think there's a lot, like Duncan said, there's a lot to see in the UK and Europe.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other companies doing.
Yes, there are many companies in Europe. However,
which is great, because you can take their models and you can that gives you a bit of validation and proof.
Sure. You can copy a lot of things.
You don't have to be unique if you consider how big the market is. You just have to be very good at what you do. So if you're delivering that very well, you don't have to be the only one.
Yes, it's the most part difficult is how to validate the model, because before arriving to the United Kingdom, I tried to encourage doctors. However, it was unsuccessful. But during those 2 weeks, I found this segment that interact during the platform. So I validate the model. I need to grow up.
I actually used the product like this last year. I was paying $40 a month for it, and abandoned it after I think 4 months. And I would have sooner if I hadn't forgotten to cancel it. But the marketing was brilliant, I think, and they convert me off Instagram. And I can remember and show you the product so you can pick up how they're doing the messaging. But then the nutritionist was completely useless. Like she was somebody just picked off, I don't know, a survey, working from home or something. But there was no value whatsoever. And I think, and I know another company where I know the founder section in Germany who is quite successful with this. And I think they actually bring a lot of tangible value, and they focus on the German-speaking market. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a crowded space, but none of these players would actually do it well in Peru, because kind of their models and products device around these bigger for them markets that are easier, higher paying, and so on. But at the same time, you have a kind of a much more painful issue in Peru, and kind of different stakeholders into that. Yeah.
No, it's just my view is going to be not popular, but I think it's like a bad gardener has a ton of lawnmowers, because you're trying to find one that makes it easy, and bad housewife has a ton of vacuum cleaners. Well, I think it's like this: how many times you got to hear you got to eat whole grains and fruit and vegetables and fish. I mean, so that's, I think there needs to be some feedback. I think the one that Mai's release of blood or some measurement that scares you is probably needed, I think. But
yeah, exactly. And I think that's part of the reason. So I just bought a device where I can blow into it and it tells me what type of metabolic processes my body is making. I'm waiting for it to arrive. And I think there's a lot of hype around this personal healthcare, lifestyle devices, monitoring devices like this ring and so on. And I think once you get this audience, you can become also kind of a channel for these products, which I mean, if they get the even the blood pressure device, I mean that's obviously a part of the management of your hypertension to fix your diet for a lot of people. So there's a lot of correlations, and if you can build a business model in Peru, there's a lot of market potential with that. So yeah, perfect. How it works, you can probably tell us better than we can tell you. Yeah.
Thank you, Lino.
You ready? Cool. And after Luis, I want Martin Castillo to prepare. You're already there. Wonderful. And then last would be Oscar before that, last but not least. And yeah, whoever here, has anybody experienced an earthquake that was scary? Where? Yeah. In Peru, yeah, they have a few of them there, right? Yeah, I was on a very tall building, the last big one I experienced, and I ran 18 stories faster than I thought possible, right? On the stairs. How did it? Yeah, I mean, but please tell us how we can avoid that stress in the future, and far worse consequence, far more dire consequence.
Well, good morning. I'm Luis Izquierdo. So before to start, as Lino asked you, if you raise your hand in order to have you ever experienced an earthquake, and you don't rise, you are a lucky person. I have to experience earthquakes every single day in my country. Pisco, Peru 2007 was a huge earthquake that cost my city 600 died. And also 0.5 million affected people. And also $1 trillion in a cost city. And how is this possible? Well, the current policies in disaster management doesn't take into account all those actors involved in the prevention seismic task. Imagine that you have to decide in A or B sector in order to prioritize your resources. If you don't know about how's the reality, well, it's easy to say something. But what about if you know that in A you have a weakness buildings with a vulnerable population? What about in B you have people with huge vitality and buildings in better condition? In this way, it's more easy to prioritize resources, and that's what I offer. I offer a service that through surveys and data analytical statistical analysis involves a social aspect related to earthquakes plus an infrastructure environment. And I call this vulnerability maps earthquake risk analysis. Then, as this is a research project, I note that if it's implemented, we can save and affect people around 20%. And also 25% of resources are saved, I mean money and time. Why me? Well, because I'm a civil engineer that I have been working during this project around 2 years with limited resources. And when I noticed that I have possible benefits for the society, I'm really interested in taking it forward. And also I have the support about laboratory researches at Católica University. This is a group formed by the multi-perspective wave. In relation with the market size, Peru is a natural country to expose to earthquakes, and we expect for 2021 21 millions that are equal to 65% the total population. Related to the business model, I have to mention that it was my first contact with this finance world, so I realized that I have the possible customers and insurance company and government and the possible benefits for them. And also for me, the most important is that service that I offer, the vulnerability map, which should be updated every 2 years. Finally, I have to admit that my experience here are really enriching because I realized that these possible customers, also I have thought about a government institution, but then I realized the insurance companies are possible too. The value proposition for them, for example, for insurance company, we have the target of possible customers and also accurate rates because it's not the same price for the vulnerable sectors and the others. Also for the government, save money, time, and the main goal, save lives, or not. But for the service, a vulnerable map. My next challenge, as I said before, I just need business model support. I just need to understand how to charge this insurance and what will the initial setups, contact agents with collecting data because the social information is true about surveys. And finally, I need more help and resources. As I said before, I work with limited resources, and I have contacts with possible customers and grants in order to take it forward. And thank you for your attention.
So what's your kit? How do you assess the ground?
Okay. For the social aspect, we use these 14 social indicators related to the earthquakes. We collect these through surveys, and then we have a statistical analysis like deep learning and have like scores. Then we reference this in a map about the district, and we added the social.
So you're not testing anything under the ground?
No, because this is about a person. I study the behavior of the person plus the structure that is already building.
Okay, I see.
I think your kind of business is one I always question whether you want to just grow a consultancy.
Yeah.
In other words, you've developed a special tool, which is yours.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with simply using that tool and first of all selling yourself to people who need their building assessed, and then franchising other people to use your tool and spreading that way? Well, why form a company?
Yeah, well, actually, I need for this kind of help because I just realized recently, 1 month or 2 months before, that I can obtain some benefits for that. So this is like a research project and no more the initial stage. And then I have to realize that I have some profits. I make this in order to increase the benefits of this project.
And when you do the survey, so you do the survey and you think this is a vulnerable area, this is not.
Yeah.
What changes in the vulnerable areas? Do people change the buildings? Do people, I don't know, change anything structurally?
Actually, it's the task for the the government, because they have like a goal that save lives people preparation task. If you know well areas well vulnerable.
So you offer a solution? Yeah.
Yeah, I offer a map and the hotspots about vulnerable areas. I offer this map. Actually, this map is like a real simulation about the indicators, and we have to say the government, hey, these orange areas are more vulnerable than the others, so what would you do? So you have a preparation task, I don't know, simulation about evacuating in order to save people.
I just wonder if there's any kind of partnership you do with a construction company, so you can show them which areas are vulnerable, and then they see that as an opportunity to help safeguard those buildings, for which the residents might pay for. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think the real estate companies.
Yeah, I just wonder where the loop is for
interested.
what you do, who gets that information, what changes, and where the money is.
That's right. Thank you so much. It's interesting.
I think the equivalent would be in the UK flood risk, because in certain areas where government has already allowed houses to be where there's a flood risk, they can't insure it, so government takes the role. So your tool would help that in the earthquake zone, I guess, but it all depends on the model. Do people have insurance, or do the companies say, sorry, it's too risky, I'm not going to, you know. But that's why I think you've got, the business model's the hard thing here, except if somebody's going to do something like improve their house, you have to be able to do something about it, I think. I think.
Thank you.
Who do you know that can help with this? Who would be good advisors for a business like this, I guess, for somebody like?
Yeah, talk to construction companies. I think you've still got to do a lot of research of where you sit in the value chain, or in the in the sequence of people involved in this area.
In principle, you ought to be able to talk to an insurance company as well, you know, Lloyd's or Marsh or.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, talk to construction companies, insurance companies, architects.
Yeah.
You know, anything related to.
Yeah, actually, funny enough,
city.
it's an unusual place, but the Ulster University has some of the best natural experts in earthquakes, and they might be able to.
Never guessed that.
I know, it's weird.
Where?
Ulster.
Oh, okay.
In Coleraine, I mean, it's just an accident, I think. But I can certainly link you to them if that helps, because they study earthquakes worldwide.
Did you speak with your colleague from Monterrey in the other room who's been building the systems for installing rooftop gardens while maintaining the structural integrity of buildings? I think he's already had, because he kind of committed to these 100 customer interviews, he's already done that with different construction companies, architects and so on, insurers as well in Mexico. So maybe he would be willing to share some of that insight, or maybe some connections where you can interview them. He's literally in the next room. And another person that's in the next room, Amar, is currently doing a big real estate development in the south of London. It's a massive construction project, and he's all day long with speaking with different construction people in the UK. Maybe he can offer some.
Our next speaker may be relevant too.
The next one?
The next speaker might be.
Yeah, maybe. Let's see. And so we can wrap up with that. Oscar, please.
Thank you.
Oh, no. And I miss Martin. Andre, of course, yeah. Excuse me. I almost forgot you. Silly me. Do you know what's in common between a windmill, like a power generator, wind power generator, Oreo cookie, and a bridge? This guy, whatever.
Okay.
I hope I didn't steal your first slide.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm really sorry, I didn't know.
No, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
okay.
Just go to that.
Good afternoon. My name is Andrea Alburquerque. I'm from Peru. In Peru, I have a company, an engineering consultancy company called Vibrason. And it was born through the idea to have structures that with those problems avoided. Okay, so the vibration problems occurs in structures like this and in machinery like this. So the main problem is the lack of information. Sometimes the failures is often invisible, so it could cause expensive plant stoppages. But what do we do to solve that problem? We install motion sensors around the structure for the remote monitoring. So with this information, I can have accurate information to set up early warnings to prevent failures, and with that information also give the better solution. Okay. It was a case of study. This is a platform for a company, a mine company in Peru, who has a vibration problem. These vibration problems makes cracks and also the risk of collapse. Just the technical solution implemented only cost 100 times less than if the structure would fall down. So my UK progress, before I came here, I had an established company with just 5 customers. And I think that all the sessions here, it was very useful for us. But I mentioned 3 important things that I enjoyed: the negotiation exercises, the communication skills, and the mentoring sessions. My goal up to 2020 is to have 10 customers, but with a subscription service. What do I ask? I am asking for meetings with potential clients, bridge, mines, oil platforms, and wide generation plants owners. And what do I offer for them? It's a predictive maintenance based on accurate data and a subscription service. And we want to avoid this kind of failures. Thank you.
monitor it then? What sort of
With
assessment do you
sensors, with accelerometers, and with strain gauge sensors.
And they are there all the time from the
in
when the bridge is built?
In real time. So in real time, we could see how the properties of the structure is changing.
Okay.
And when it gets more flexibility.
And can you fit them on old structures?
Yes, for
as well
sure.
as building into new ones?
Yes, we have like the best points to reinforce this kind of structures.
Okay.
I don't think I have a question, but Queen's University has a technology which is fiber optic based to do the same, and that goes to market through RPS, you know, the consultancy. I could introduce you to RPS very easily.
Oh,
if that would help.
Thank you, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Simon, anything for you?
I'm just trying. It sounds just like a risk management system, and I think it can be pitched that way as well. Like have a whole platform that manages buildings, bridges, things like that. That analyzes the risk in it, in something happening or anything like that. And I think I'm just trying to play around with it in my head at the moment. This is why it's a bit choppy. But give me about 30 seconds and I'll come back.
Yeah, the other type of work that I've seen is, particularly in helicopters, which the military do, they listen to the engine note and to the vibrations, and the change in vibration tells you there's a crack or something.
Yes.
So maybe that would be helpful too, but I haven't got a contact anymore that I could give you, but you could certainly find the literature on that process and see which of the companies, you know.
It also could be helpful for me.
One of the Airbus companies would no doubt be the right one, but I don't have a personal connection.
It would be interesting to see the differentiation of the actual technical approach. And
well, I think each of your markets has a different speciality. So bridges, you know, certain companies do bridges, and you know, they're all different.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe a consulting company is actually your route to market, because you're not probably equipped to handle the projects for the bridges,
well,
and maybe
RPS
some
is civil, so they would cover most of what you had as examples there.
Exactly, and you're a supplier to this company.
This technology is missed. For example, this picture is in this year in Colombia. It happened, right? And it's,
So I want to throw in, actually, because you didn't have the slide, I thought you might have created, but we had a joke among the mentors and trainers about what's in common between an Oreo cookie, a wind turbine, and a bridge, right? And these are 3 customers that he actually has, and it took us quite a while to figure out what this guy was actually doing. And thankfully he can now explain it in a clear way. But yeah, the Oreo one was
no,
it's actually it was over 80%, I think, in cookies were getting misaligned.
Yes, it's just because they have also structures and with many equipment, and they don't know which of these equipments are the problems, right?
So the case with the wind turbine was that they were basically taking off the generator from the top, maintaining it and putting it back on a monthly basis, and they thought they had a faulty generator. But after this guy came along, what they discovered is that effectively one of the blades was misaligned, and it was causing a vibration when there was wind, which was causing problems in the engine, I think, in the generator, which they thought was a faulty generator, but actually it was just the blade. And as soon as they fixed that, the whole thing worked very smoothly.
Glass, you know, Coca-Cola bottling plant.
Yeah.
To get the speed up, and it was breaking bottles, and that was again because there was an unknown vibration.
Exactly, and this is a kind of any type of production line. The problem was they were kind of making these Oreo cookies, and something in the production line started vibrating, and they got misaligned. So this guy managed to quickly find out what the cause of that was, and it's often something simple, right?
General question is kind of, do you use conferences? You know, many of the civil engineers will attend conferences and discuss this. But in that conference, there'll also be a place for companies to exhibit their wares.
Yes, right now we are doing that. We are going right now to conferences.
Yeah,
through the.
A good strategy I've had is to give a powerful talk, but make sure you have the person on the desk of the stand so that they can take all the questions and relay, so that you can pick a possible important contact.
Yes, okay.
We're out of time, and
Thank you.
Totally. I think this is super exciting, honestly. It was really cool what you were able to do with such small budgets. Please, let's get Oscar here. Have you ever traveled in a place where there was no cell phone reception? This hardly, at least in my experience around Europe, that's a rare thing these days. But London is one of those places, actually. Yeah, London is a place in my entire lifestyle where I have the worst cell phone reception. Yeah, no, I was kind of on sailboats in Greece, and we were somewhere in the open sea, and I had perfect 4G. I thought I'm gonna take 4 days off because I'm on a boat, but no way. So let's see how we can address the still uncovered pieces of the world.
Well, hello to everyone. Today I'm going to tell you about the story of Maria. She's a Peruvian that lives in a rural village, and well, this rural village does not have anything of access to telecommunication services. So basically she cannot communicate with her son that probably goes out into another city to improve their life style. Well, people like Maria that lives on rural zones with no access to telecommunications, they usually get low levels on education, and they are totally excluded from the socio-economical activities of the country. In Peru, we have 66,000 rural villages. That is 4 million people that are disconnected from the world. And well, my name is Oscar Llerena, and I'm a telecommunication engineer. I have experience on cellular networks, and I'm doing research on 4G and 5G technology. I want to become a mobile operator because my vision is that every person in the world should have access to cheap services on telephony, so they can be able to call their relatives and friends anytime, anywhere. So I came up with this low-cost cellular-based station solution, which is based on cheap hardware and open-source software. And we are seeking to develop a solution that is easy to deploy, totally scalable in terms of technology evolution. And also, we're looking forward in order to design a solution that it's going to meet 50% cost reduction compared with the other solutions in the market. Now, our market we're targeting is the 80% of those 4 million people, that is 3.2 million potential customers, which will be offering 2G services at the first stage, just to create the market and incentivize them. And then we are going to migrate into 4G and also 5G with time. This research I've self-conducted on my own for 2 years. I've managed to build a laboratory prototype that works, and many of you are aware of that, I think. And with this prototype, I managed to get the opportunity to attend to the LEAF program. And also, I've been recently backed up by this institution, research institution in Peru called INICTEL, which is going to finance my current investigation on the matter. The progress that I got in London is that I got into the concepts to start commercializing my idea, to start making a business of it. I have resolved some doubts, and basically I have changed my mindset, because at the beginning I wanted to produce this product and sell it to many operators, but now I want to create my own network and address the end user customers. So I figured out this roadmap that in the first year we're going to develop a prototype that we're going to test it on the second year on some villages. And by the third year, we're planning to offer end user customers some service plan. We're asking for funding in order to develop prototyping and marketing, and we would like to be connected with software developers and marketing agents to assess technological risks and market risks. Hopefully you can see someday that you'll be connected to my network. Over there.
Yes.
Yeah, you're
right. This is actually a bit illegal, but
I can explain about that if you love me. But the base station is in the next room, working.
Oh, that's why it's
I'm sorry for travel costs, but
Be very careful when you're doing demos.
Yeah.
It's a great trick, but until now I've been pissed off because I thought someone's like stealing my data.
you can turn it out. I'm gonna. Okay,
so
sorry.
Just be careful when you
All right.
do that. But it's a great trick to show.
Okay. I'm sorry for the travel.
Weren't the phones gonna
Yeah.
ring actually at this slide?
I'm sorry?
Weren't the phones gonna ring in the whole room on that slide?
No, I mean,
Okay, no worries.
DRG is calling me, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel called.
Did you wrap up your presentation? I think we interrupted you here.
No, it's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I finished.
Okay. I didn't get what the ask was.
Okay. Well, basically, because we are starting, no, it was a previous slide, actually. We are starting, okay? We would like to develop this prototype in order to test it in villages. So we're planning to select 3 villages. We're going to deploy it there and to provide the services. There is going to be connectivity on the backhaul through satellite, okay? Also, because we are using open source software, we will need to, add some features. That's why we need the software developers and marketing agents in order to create a good marketing strategy in order to reach them. Because this is a difficult market, I guess.
My question is, have you checked out the work that's going on in Africa, which either directly or through the academy, because they have advanced a great deal in the use of the mobile phone in remote areas.
Yeah.
And have all sorts of solutions which, if you're not in that environment, you wouldn't think of. But I'm sure there are commonalities.
Yeah, sure. But well, until now, many low progress have been done on the matter. No? Half of the population on rural villages is still on the world. I'm talking, is still with no connection. So if they have done some advance, maybe they haven't put it on the way. They haven't rolled it out on deployment.
Well, I guess I'm just saying that in our mutual connections, there will be people to ask, because all sorts of funding models and so on have been developed. And
yeah, sure. I mean, I'm trying to get connections here to universities that basically develop this kind of
I'm not 100% sure that the best connections are the universities. I think it's more the business models of the people. For example, charging the phone becomes the business model, not the phone itself.
Yeah. I
like
understand.
M-Pesa, right? Right. You're giving the M-Pesa example.
The necessity to charge it, right?
Sorry?
The necessity to charge it.
No, it's not to charities. No, that's the business model is that if you put a charging point up, that people come and pay you because they know they like the connectivity of the phone, but they will pay you to charge the phone.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's a different thing. I misunderstood.
Yeah.
So where do you get your signal from then? Are you taking a signal from satellites and then distributing it in the rural area?
Okay, well,
it's a microwave link you showed.
This is a prototype that I built. Basically, the software goes into the computer and it's working there. And what you see on the left side is a software-defined radio card that basically provides the signal. Okay.
From where?
Yeah.
Okay.
On another slide, you had a microwave dish.
Yeah, I mean, on the backhaul, there might be some kind of transportation, right? So for these rural areas, we're planning on satellite.
Okay.
Satellite, basically, because there is no another
so it
access.
Comes from the satellite.
Yeah,
and
it
then
comes.
It's
Yeah,
distributed
the
locally.
transportation comes from the satellite, and the access is provided by these radio cards.
Okay.
Exactly.
Kilometer and a half radius.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course, this prototype is only ranging on few meters only, but of course, I mean, it's on mine to design the amplification stage in order to reach longer. Sure. That's the part of my project of this year, actually.
This is maybe a bit off subject, but does anyone else here have phone reception? Because mine's gone completely
No, exactly.
blank. But then is that part of your demo
exactly.
as well? So you cut everyone else off?
No.
This building is in London, so it doesn't get access to
we are
cell
on the
towers.
basically because we are on the basement. Basically, because we are on the basement, I mean, there is low signal from the normal base stations. So mine is currently the best signal here. And telephones are kind of dumb, to say it. And they connected to this base station based on the power level. And there is a vulnerability in there. And it has been proven a few years ago that the telephones do not authenticate the network. I mean, they do not ask if the network is the real one. They just see that there is better signal qualities, and they connect it. So that's why many of you, especially iPhones, I guess.
I know someone who's putting local signals in lift shafts because in the elevators in buildings, because when these large buildings are built, you lose the signal as you go up and you lose the signal in the lift. And now consumers are expecting mobile signal everywhere.
Yes.
So it might not just be rural areas that you could
exactly.
sell to.
What I'm thinking is, because given that it allows me to make it as much short or small as I can, so it will be a matter of developing in order to reach a convenient size to test it in other convenient models of business.
People get into an elevator if the signal goes.
Exactly.
It's annoying.
Yeah, exactly.
So there may be other underground places where you could sell.
Yes, exactly. Subways and stuff.
That's a crowded space. There are all kinds of solutions which kind of use the rails of trains in the subway and stuff like that.
Yeah, on the tube, subway train.
Yes, exactly.
You get it in the station, but not on the tube.
Exactly.
I think, Lino, for me, the big question is whether you're an equipment supplier or a network service provider. Yeah. And I think that's you have to be very, very careful which way you step, thinking through carefully.
Yeah. At the beginning, I thought of building the prototype and sell it to vendors, to main operators. But after the course, I think the scope has changed, okay? And reaching for end user customers.
Think
about
it.
All right.
Been thinking, like he changed his mind for the 6th time of this. But both things have massive pros and cons. I mean, obviously.
But totally different business.
Totally different.
Yes.
Clearly.
Now, commenting on that, in Peru, there has an opportunity there. Can I just answer this one? Okay.
You have 10 seconds.
Okay, basically the government, what it does is that put the big operators in negotiation to the rural operators. I'll become rural operators. This scenario is only happening in Peru because they want to reduce the telecommunication gap. So it's propitious. I mean,
it's very special market conditions, right?
Yeah, it's special market conditions, I would say.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. This was a lot of work. And I'll get you guys for a short discussion in the next room. And yeah.
Lino, should we do a very quick photo of everybody before we go?
Well, if you you can stay here. You can stay here.